so we've got that. We have, because I'm trying to research efficiently here of the 2 slots that we can. Okay, the next thing would be just a, let's do this. It's the next best thing. Get that done. Production, yes, we can produce updated vehicles. But right now, I'm just going to keep my efficiency up and continue to produce these vehicles until we get the Kuba wagon and then just switch over. Waiting for my to get here. I know you guys were, hopefully this is interesting to both the people live and watching later. We're chatting about things. Okay. All right, now, again, 36. Looking for 36. We can't do radio equipment. I think it's maybe being done in another slot here, or we will. Oh no, it's a 37 technology, actually, I think. Okay, we got paratroopers. So basically, we've done all of the 36 technologies. So let's start doing 37s. What other decisions can we do at this time? 149. Okay, we'll do Operation Ursula as well. Okay, keep that going. Okay, well, now various things have ended, plus getting back some more stuff. I think some of the effects we can build. My basic plan is through 1936, sometime into 37 at least, basically build civilian factories. I don't know that that's the best choice. It's sort of my Hearts of Iron 3 Germany strategy just being used here. Okay, we have 2 divisions here. Let's just put them on trains and get them over to here. Also take very long. Lots of air flying around here, it looks like. Okay, well, we'll let them get a little more organized here. It's organized enough for me. Attack. We can cut off those guys from retreating and push in along the coast here. Okay, Chinese development. Okay. Siege on the world stage. New countrymen. Nice, I guess. Oh, this also looks like Hoi 4 doesn't have HQs. Does have bicycles for Japan, though, but that's not a good trait. Well, the best thing that it has, and it's been a long, hard fight, is we've got army commanders that you can, like, let's jump down over to this other German theater. Is basically Dietrich is being a divisional commander functionally, but really it is set up for army commands. These are armies. These are army groups, basically. So And there is also a pseudo-divisional guy that sort of sits there. It's all pre-generated, not historical names, not anything. That this guy will he's sort of like earning traits for the division, basically. Over time, he'll earn traits. You can, if he does enough, you can decide to promote him up to a regular sort of general if you want to do that path. But he'll earn traits commanding the division. Well, I've not played... Hi, hello, Tinky. Good to have you here. Bicycles are DLC. Yeah. In my opinion, Hoi 4 is an overreaction to the real complaints of Hoi 3. That's how I would... Okay, that attack didn't work out. Why it didn't, but it didn't. Okay, well. Things that people complained about instead of fixing them. And what does fixing mean? I know that's sort of a vague term. But, you know... No, let's drive around this way. We'll see if we occupy that port. Instead of improving them, or whatever you want to say, they decided to go with removing of features. Oh. Well, if you're into urban planning and you have the idea that bicycles should be a significant part of it, man, you're doing bad urban planning. Bicycles should not be any significant element of any urban planning. Yeah, we'll do the... let's do this. Maybe we'll just skip the first version of this to get in production. Never really got into 3 because I lacked the patience, but I taught myself 4 and played it. Yeah, I understand. See, that's part of the problem with 3 is... I got into it first, and I was an instinctual player because I played so many, you know, board games. But for a lot of people, it isn't. And it's like the command structure. And one thing that people didn't like to do is micromanage what general is in charge of what division. Well, you could easily do an AI if-then statement based upon traits and other things to put generals more or less into the appropriate, I'm not saying historically correct, you know, this guy in whatever division. I'm just saying, if you have mountain traits, put him in charge of a mountain division, you know, kind of thing. Some simplistic things like that that could have been done. And a few other elements that would have made what they had work easy. Instead of doing that, they just gutted it. Hello, folk. I am using your, if you didn't hear earlier, your PDF file as a guide, though I'm rejecting some of the stuff so far. But yeah, the pony mod for her is weird. Yeah. Oh, it's well done. I played it once. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it, but I played it once. Netherlands must suck to live in, even though it goes up, but I never actually hear from people there. Where no one likes bikes in winter, North America. Bikes, the reason bikes are bad, I'm talking not that you shouldn't allow bikes to exist or anything like that, but if you're planning for it, bikes limit you, people. Bikes are And yeah, I know places like Amsterdam or Copenhagen, oh, they're all bike friendly. Yeah, but like in winter or the rain, and you need to get to work or get home from work, you got to go biking in the rain. And like going to work, it limits how far away you can work from where you live. And yes, I understand. And I've been to Amsterdam, haven't been to Copenhagen, but I've been to a bunch of European cities. I understand that they're built more on the human scale as opposed to where I live in California, where every major city except for San Francisco is built on the scale of the automobile. I understand the idea of not building it as planning for a city on cars, but by requiring human muscle to get to work, it limits people. And I know a lot of people, for some reason, want to limit human activity. Use less energy. No, use more of everything. Now, that doesn't mean, pollute, but use more energy. We should be super abundant in energy. We have so much energy available. We should be super abundant in it. And yeah, I understand, again, the historical. Sometimes you're dealing with a medieval city. One of the worst examples of city dealing in the modern is Venice. You know, uh, yeah, it's sort of romantic. And I've been to Venice, and it's all cool, the canal. But do you really want to live in a city that at least what we would consider the ground floor of the buildings floods once in a while? So don't put anything terribly valuable there in the ground floor, and then one floor up might or might not flood. And you got now. You see, okay, I get it that you're living in an archaic city, but that's not city planning. That's dealing with what this sort of canal boats and whatnot. And I would say Venice would have gone away if it wasn't such a tourist attraction nowadays. But maybe I'm wrong about that statement. But I mean, it makes sense in the Dark Ages when you're using that to fight off the barbarian invasions, and you're able to sit out on your little island cities and survive. Yeah, that does make sense. But modern, no. Buses are not as bad as bikes, but they're also sort of a failure and a 19th century, because buses start as a horse-drawn thing. It's really mass transit systems, whether they're an underground, above ground. You can build it like a monorail. I know there's a early 20th century or whatever above ground one in Warpel or someplace in Germany like that. I've seen photos of it. So yeah, Warpel here, I think it is. So it could be like a monorail that's above ground that has minimal impact on people living around it, or underground systems. Those can efficiently move large groups of people around the city, and so you can live on one side of the city and work conveniently on the other side of the city. And yeah, if you're going to be in the countryside, you need automobiles, or again, you are super limiting yourself by human power, the time it takes, even if you don't take into the weather, the dangers of bikes, being hit. We'll ban automobiles. Fuck that. Automobiles, whether they're eventually a self-driving electric or hydrogen car that's environmentally friendly, great. But automobiles are the ability to move around rapidly. And again, if you eventually get good self-driving stuff, they can move very rapidly, sort of create little mini trains around and move around quite good. That bikes are a bad limiting thing for society, for human activity. Yes, my mother loved riding her bike. Probably part of the reason she got as sick as she did, because of several injuries that she had. But she loved riding her bike, but she did it around what was mostly, shall we say, bike-friendly neighborhoods. Though one dog bite that was severe while riding a bicycle, it chased her and bit her in the calf. But yeah, so I'm just, the idea that you're planning and driving humanity to go back to the bicycle is bad for the future of humanity. It just is, that whole viewpoint of it. And if you want to do I think electric scooters are, I would not be caught dead on electric scooters. But if you want to talk an electric bike, and I know I get the fitness element, I get the fitness element, but it's the idea of being able to be mobile. Humans need to be mobile. And electric bikes, you can, without quite going to motorcycle type speeds or, or whatever, you can get around if you're willing to put up with that danger. I know this just may be me and my viewpoints here, but the idea of dollar-backed energy or electricity. Yeah, well, we just need to get into more modern electrical production. Eventually, it should help be driving towards fusion production, and just have mega amounts of, because we have plenty of water to feed the fusion reactors, just mega amounts of energy, and just doing that. Americans and your zoning don't help with not owning a car. Don't move my. I didn't move my Polo in 2 months. Glad it still starts. Okay. No need for cars most times. Hello, Troop. How you doing? Oh, and over on YouTube, somebody you should. Okay. Hello, Julio. What W? It looks like a spamming thing over there. Over on Rumble. You got to remember to look over there. So depends on the public transport. Europe is awesome. Yeah, I'm okay with well organized public transports, and buses are somewhere between, are better than bicycles, but not as good as, because not as good as getting something off the road, like a whether it's a rail system of some sort, shall we say. I believe we should use lots of energy, specifically more greener. Green is bullshit communist talk. Green is bullshit communist talk. Don't ever give me green as anything, because it depends. Because everything has its costs. It just how much pollution versus how much energy. But those people that are arguing for less energy are also arguing for people to continue to live in abject poverty around the world. Energy should not be any restraining ability. Well, private jets, well, yeah, as things, happy if they eat bugs, that's leaves beef for me. Well, I mean, if they want to eat bugs, they can eat bugs. Some places around the world actually want to eat bugs. Bottleneck's always going to make traffic jams. Well, yeah, and that's sort of why I don't want buses or bikes on the roads, to keep the automobiles flowing effectively. When everyone starves, we reach total equality. Yeah, logic never fails. So yeah, I want abundance of energy. Energy is the thing that limits human activity, or the lack thereof. And I want people from all over the world to have non-interventionist agreement, whatever. We're okay. You guys start attacking there again, so that you're pinning these forces to allow these guys to move into here and defend there, and that cuts them off from the port, so they can't get supplies, even if they were going to send supplies, which I don't know if they were or weren't. Made pseudo self-healing roads. I think it was volcanic ash that they put inside the roads. Okay, I don't know about. Well, not all Roman roads are equal. Okay, just as a basic statement, but Roman roads probably wouldn't stand up to modern weight limitations or pressures. I do believe what Roman cement, and a lot of it came from dug up from below the city and area of Rome from volcanic ash. And we sort of kind of have it figured out, meaning we make something that we call Roman cement. And I talked to an engineer a while ago, and he didn't know anything about this, who was dealing with building stuff. Because I think a trade secret and lost in inactivity the exact percentage of materials, whether their ideal percentage was correct or not, I don't know. So we've sort of reinvented Roman cement. Is better than Portland cement, which is what we normally think of as cement things and what's going on. So to sort of talk specific, Roman cement has the attribute of being able to, one, harden underwater. You don't have to like I remember like when I was a kid, my dad had the old driveway ripped up and had the new one poured down, and then even then it still ended up cracking and whatnot, and even though he was watering it to try to have it dry out simultaneously, because get the water out, because there was sort of water. It was the ground that it was poured onto was sort of a wet earth, and when they pulled the stuff up, they go, yeah, maybe let it dry a little while longer. And he did it, I think, like a day or two longer, but still, how long are you going to live without a driveway? But Roman cement will dry underwater, and in salt water, it actually hardens up and is harder than it not being in water at all, or in not being in salt water. It actually hardens up harder. So it has some abilities that modern cement doesn't. I'm not saying it's the perfect cement or the best we can do, but I do believe it is better than most modern cement mixtures. So yeah, my problem with green is we stopped getting gas from Russia. Well, I mean, you shut down your nuclear power plants. Now, I understand why Japan, partially an emotional reaction for some of them, partially a very real reaction of the boy, I'm forgetting the name. Fukushima, wherever Fukushima is, I think it's around here. The Fukushima earthquake, and then the tidal wave that flooded out the nuclear power plant. Well, yeah, coastally, and since you have those types of events happening, probably you should not put a nuclear power plant along the coast of Japan. But they even shut down a few that were fairly inland and using other water sources too, I believe. So yeah, in some areas, maybe it is best not to use nuclear because of things like that, and you do not want to shut down nuclear power plants too rapidly. It causes problems. I didn't mean green energy like you mentioned it, by the way. Okay, yeah, but I just whenever people say green, I see that as a limiting. Elon Musk, who is a proponent of electricity, including electric cars, obviously, with his company. And in my opinion, at least on current technology and current likely near future technology, electric cars are a dead end and not a good idea, because batteries. I believe the lithium batteries are a significant fire hazard. I believe that but that's sort of a minor thing. I believe that batteries are too slow to recharge and too difficult to easily swap out. Like pulling up to the gas station, swap your batteries. Just meaning you don't own your batteries. You're just constantly changing them out. is too much of a limiting factor. The problem with what I think is the proper solution for an internal combustion engine of the future, and there's probably a few minor technical hurdles to get over, is hydrogen. And one of them, of course, is separating hydrogen from oxygen, meaning separate it with water energy efficiently, meaning not use as much energy as it does to then later you burn the hydrogen in the car, which has zero emissions. But another thing is, and he likes to post tweets that shows how much space, land space down here, something like this much of Africa could give all the electricity in the world for, solar. Well, fine, but unless we're really going to go over to a Nikola Tesla, transmit electricity through the air, and if that causes cancer or not, I don't know. I know people claim that live near lots of big power lines get cancer, and they normally don't do houses right next to big power line things anymore. Whether that's real or just imagined, I'm not sure. Getting the electricity from somewhere that's where there's lots of sunshine to where there isn't. I understand that he's not necessarily suggesting one big square out in one location, but some areas just are less suitable for electricity from the sun. 2, solar panels, my understanding, last somewhere between 10 and 20 years before most of them start falling apart. And I don't know how easy it is to recycle them, but and maybe not that hard. I don't know. And I don't know the cost of recycling, cost and energy and production time. But I don't think solar currently, with the solar cells that we currently have, is the way to go. I don't think wind is the way to go. I think solar and wind are stopgap measures for places without a lot of infrastructure, where you can either plunk down a solar, small, either a backpack solar panel. That sounds really cool, for backpacking, or small set of solar panels for some village, or if there's a consistent wind somewhere and you want to plunk down a small, like an old windmill that would pump, some water out of the ground, for human and or like animal use, or a big windmill, big thing. You want to plunk that down without building a whole huge infrastructure ranging across large amounts of underdeveloped and or difficult to go through terrain. Yeah, sure. Those kinds of things are stopgap measures or specialty measures I'm fine with. But trying to power your nation on solar or wind power, I think right now is limiting energy use and is bad long term. It is. Sure, Sing, what do you want to? I'll check. Ask me about way 4. Roman concrete. Yes. Okay. Hello, challenge boys. Roman concrete. Problem is they change the formula depending on what needs, almost never going to work. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, Fukushima, going back to that. Sending Panzer to Spain, division Spain costs tons of fuel, which, yeah, it's, okay, that's not really the problem, folk, with fuel. I'll get to that in just a second. Let me get through the stuff, depending on what they do. I think Japan will care more just getting the energy they need more than they care about not using nuclear. Well, we'll see how Japan goes. Concrete gamer. Okay, you asked me. Undecided on YouTube showcases a lot of new battery technologies, and I heard that one tech that he doesn't cover uses diamonds as batteries. Well, could be, but diamonds are sort of expensive, and I know industrial diamonds are cheaper than high quality whatever, jewelry diamonds. But yeah, we may figure out good batteries, but there's people that are pro green, pro the left. They'll go, hey, here's this small electric engine and how great it is to power this car, how our internal combustion engine is going to be able to work. But then if you go, yeah, look at how much battery life how much, mass and batteries do you need to do that same thing versus how much volume in fuel, gasoline or diesel or whatever you need to run the same thing. And when you look at the fuel side of it, the metric goes heavily in favor of fuel, internal combustion engines over electricity. Electricity, if you have it plentifully, and if you're using things that are mostly short range, city cars, that kind of thing, the problem is charging time. And yes, if you get fast charging batteries or batteries that will store more electricity, great, that improves things. I wonder where they'll dispose of those batteries. Exactly, looks at developing countries. Yes, disposal and or recycling. I don't know how that's going in cost. Okay, fusion is not considered green by the left. Yeah, and yes, I'm all for fusion if we can get it to work. And I know there's tokamaks that are sort of working, and then there's some other non-tokamak technology that's also, it's sort of like a linear type thing that's trying to crash things together. They're working on it, on fusion. If an e-car catches fire, it developed into a foam container multiple days over because they, tend to reignite. Yeah, there's still a lot of problem. Fossil fuels are a gift from God. We will never top that. Yet, Nate, no matter what we do, as far as I understand reality, we will never get away from fossil fuels entirely, because even if we're not using them for energy, we will need coal or oil, because coal is basically dried up oil, basically. We can talk about lignite and some of the other things, but it is basically dried up oil. We use that to make and I know you can make plastics out of other things too, but there is so much use out of plastics that, and this episode's gone way too long. I'm gonna have to cut it in half as it is now. We need it for its other uses, its other chemical uses than just fuel. So getting rid of oil or coal entirely is a bad thing. We still need it. We still need it for whatever you're going to do. The fear of nuclear energy nowadays, yes. Okay. We must win in Spain. We're going to definitely win in Spain. Okay, and seeing supposed to buy, or so do I own it permanently, or I have to pay money every month? No, if you're buying it on Steam or through the Paradox site, you buy it once, you own it. If you want to buy some of the DLCs, you can. But the way they want to make their money is you buy the base game, and then as time goes on, they want to sell you the DLCs. But some major elements are from when they update new DLCs. There's also free updates to the main game, so you don't have to keep paying for it monthly. Hello Starstreak again. The amount of mining it would take to supply all these batteries. Yeah, there's a lot of it. Charcoal grilling, gas grilling, stay mad. Yeah, I hear you. Can't kill. No, charcoal grilling is better. Though I don't know that it's a better energy source, but it's better grilling. So now, of course, charcoal grilling can come just from burning wood, but that isn't very effective. Okay, well, we're gonna not end the live stream. It's gonna keep going, but we're gonna end this episode here. I'm gonna have to cut it in half as it is now. Too much talking, not enough playing. So thank you all for getting this far with me.